Imagine a corporation so powerful it had its own army, its own currency, and ruled over 400 million people. This isn't science fiction. This is the true story of how a trading company became more powerful than most nations on Earth. In 1600, Queen Elizabeth I signed a charter granting a small group of London merchants exclusive rights to trade with India. They called themselves the British East India Company. And they had one simple goal: make money from spices, silk, and tea. The company arrived in India with just a handful of ships and a request to set up trading posts. The Mughal Empire, then one of the world's wealthiest civilizations, saw these British merchants as minor players and granted them permission to build factories along the coast. Everything changed in 1757 at the Battle of Plassey, where company officer Robert Clive defeated the Nawab of Bengal with just 3,000 men against 50,000. But here's the twist. Clive didn't win through military genius. He won through bribery, turning the Nawab's own commanders against him. After Plassey, the company transformed from traders into conquerors, raising massive private armies of over 200,000 soldiers. These weren't British troops. They were Indian sepoys commanded by British officers, paid for by the wealth extracted from the very lands they occupied. The company didn't just trade anymore. It collected taxes, administered justice, and controlled entire provinces. By 1803, they had defeated the powerful Maratha Empire and controlled most of the Indian subcontinent, all in the name of profit for shareholders back in London. The company's rule brought catastrophic consequences for ordinary Indians. Their policies triggered famines that killed millions, including the Bengal famine of 1770, which wiped out 1/3 of Bengal's population, while the company continued exporting food to maximize profits. India, which accounted for nearly 25% of global GDP in 1700, saw its wealth systematically drained to Britain. The company forced Indian artisans to sell goods below cost, destroyed local industries to eliminate competition, and shipped an estimated $45 trillion in today's value back to Britain over 2 centuries. In 1857, Indian soldiers finally revolted against their company masters in what became known as the Sepoy Mutiny, or India's first war of independence. The spark? A rumor that rifle cartridges were greased with cow and pig fat, offensive to both Hindu and Muslim soldiers. The rebellion was brutally suppressed, but it exposed the dangers of allowing a corporation to rule a nation. The British government finally stepped in, dissolving the company in 1858 and transferring control of India to the British Crown. For 258 years, a corporation accountable only to shareholders had governed one of the world's most populous regions. The East India Company proved that when profit becomes the only motive, human suffering becomes an acceptable cost of doing business. Today, when we see powerful corporations influencing governments and shaping policies, we're witnessing echoes of a nightmare that already happened. The East India Company didn't just predict this future, it was the blueprint of it.